Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cardistrytalk. This is episode 51, and today I'm joined by Bruno Storm. You may know him from his endeavors with Just Be Playing Cards or just his cardistry in general. I'm super happy to have them on the show. Bruno, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah. I'm super happy to have you here. It's always fun to talk with people that are in different countries. It's a super fun thing for sure. I know we have like a 6-hour time gap, so it was kind of interesting getting this planned, but definitely happy that we're here now. Just opening up, I think, with some of the most recent things you've been a part of. I think if we maybe want to just open up with Just Be Playing Cards, because that's probably the biggest thing I would imagine that you've been a part of recently. So I'm just curious how Just Be Playing Cards kind of came to be, and I had someone specifically ask in the comments if you could maybe explain where the name came from.
Yeah, for sure. I think I started doing cardistry in 2016. I'll just do a little backstory, and it was always sort of my dream to do a video for a brand. And in 2020, Andre Akpinar asked me to do a video for Who's the Cardist. So dream fulfilled. That was amazing. And then I thought, so what's next? Is it just like all sponsored videos from here? Or I could be the guy sponsoring other people. So that really, that idea really stuck with me. And I'm also doing a study popular culture where I have cardistry as a subject. So it all came really well together. And in my second year, I started Just Be kind of for as a project basically. And so I made a design. I started drawing cardistry and was like, oh, it's super hard to draw cardistry. And then I changed my mind. No, it's not. It's just like really simple hands and cards, and you're there. So that's how the design all started. As for the name, it took me a while. I first thought about IC cardistry because it's a visual art form, and IC cardistry had a nice sound to it. But it didn't really feel exactly right. So I just kept it, and I think I'll change it later. And it was actually a funny story how it got to Just Be, because my WhatsApp name was like Big B for a while because of Bruno. It's just a funny thing I thought. And then I was cycling home one day, and I thought, well, why is it Big B? Because I don't necessarily feel big or anything. Why isn't it Just Be? And then I had like this crazy epiphany, like, oh my God, Just Be, that's amazing. Because it's two things for me. It's Just Be. It sort of keeps me humble, and Just Be Cardistry is all about doing cardistry the way you want to do it. So I love cardistry when you can see someone's style in it and sort of recognize the person in the cardistry. And I think by not forcing it, like nowadays, people are all like aiming for it to be best cardist alive, which is a massive honor if you achieve that. But I found myself sort of getting angry at myself because I couldn't get on there because of self-doubt and all that kind of stuff. So I figured like Just Be is sort of a reminder to myself, like just be, just do what you like, just do the moves you enjoy. And I think that's the most healthy thing to keep doing something. So yeah, Just Be Cardistry is all about doing cardistry as naturally as you can and growing in the shape you can become, you need to become. Just yeah, essentially, what's the most healthiest and most beautiful thing to do within an art form.
I mean, that's definitely a great explanation for the name. I think there's a lot of really positive things about the themes you're going with. I think especially right now, at least, I talked about this a little bit with Weston in the previous episode from Worry Bricks, but it seems like at the moment, like the kind of default setting is like you have to make an impact, make really crazy material that's going to make it on Best Cardistry Live. That's not necessarily always the case, or how you need to, or even maybe want to be doing cardistry. It should be, like you're saying, just be cardistry, just do what you want to enjoy it the way that you want to enjoy it without really worrying about how it might trying to reach other people's goals and stuff like that. So I think that's a great theme that needs to really be explored more in the community. I know you've talked a little bit about the kind of motions with the hands on the back, but I would like to hear a little bit more about how maybe the deck was designed for this first deck.
Yeah, for sure. It all began with me just fidgeting around with drawing cardistry because I love to draw, and but I always found it very hard to draw cardistry. And then I had this really simple one-line design, and I thought oh, that'd be cool as a deck design. And then I drew multiple ones, and then I was like, oh, but what if they're all different? That would be so cool. And then a friend of mine, Christian Hou, he's also in my Don't Blink video. He got me a pack of wooden trainers for my birthday, which he made himself completely. And he said what design do you want on it? And I said oh, this be a great way to test the hand card things. So I sent him a couple drawings, and he was like, oh yeah, cool, I'll do that. And I got him, and I was like, ooh, that would be really cool. But what if it was an entire deck and it was one move? And then I started to sit down with Michelle. She lives in the province next to me, so it's an hour by train. And I asked her yeah, I want to design a deck of playing cards. Do you want to help me with it? And she was immediately down. And so yeah, we started working on it. Also, another classmate of mine, Mila, I was already working on this sticker design with her, which is also going to be released in the future, along with some possible clothing and stuff. So I designed the hands with Mila, and the rest with Michelle, and I sort of made a design. I think I designed 16 frames for the entire move, and then we did all the parts in between, and it took tons of time. It way more than we expected. But when I finally got the prototypes, it felt so right. It felt really amazing, because I wanted to be the first deck to be as I wanted it to reflect the art form itself as much as it could. So that's why I choose black and white, sort of yin and yang, most basic color scheme there is. And yeah, also sort of the idea that it could make potentially 60 undecillion combinations, sort of, yeah, so it's infinite new cardistry moves, essentially, not really cool ones, but really abstract ones, which really inspired me to make it super asymmetrical, but also really sort of one whole thing, just like cardistry. So yeah, that's
Yeah, so very, very cool. I'm sure anything just stop motion in general, this isn't necessarily stop motion, but it's pretty similar, can take a really long time.
Yeah.
With, with the cards, I can imagine that it would take a long time. So first off, congrats on getting the deck designed and getting it funded, at least at this point. They're not out yet, are they?
Uh, no, they are funded, but I imagine they'll be up for sale next spring probably.
Yeah.
Once they're printed, I'm going to receive some, and they're going to be available through a couple online stores, so you can probably get them next year. Yeah, during around springtime.
Yeah, so one of my other questions was any future plans. I think we've gone over a good bit of that with potentially sticker and clothing, and then the deck release. So immediately, I think that kind of covers that question. The other common question that I got from a lot of people, and something that you wanted to talk about as well, is kind of in-person jams and stuff like that. A couple people wanted to
Mm.
ask about your experiences at Cardistry event Hamburg since you were there. So I think if we just open up with that, because that would seem to be a pretty common question. How was your experience at that event, and how did that go?
Hamburg was absolutely amazing. The people that hosted it, I knew one of them, Matisse,
Mhm.
and he invited me like, hey, do you want to screen a video at our event? And I was like, yes, please. That would be absolutely amazing. Um, so I went there with three of my Dutch cardist friends. Um, and yeah, the whole event was absolutely perfect organized. It was also one of my first actual in real life cardistry events. Like I've been to jams and I've been to the Anyone store twice, but this was really um, yeah, sort of like a mini cardistry con. I think
Mhm.
I haven't been to cardistry con, but I'm planning on. And this was really a real special first time. It felt amazing showing my video that I made with the other Dutch cardists just be together, and also talking with other people about the deck that they said they recognized, which was really awesome as well. But yeah, made a lot of new friends, a lot of new connections. Um, yeah, overall, very great experience.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I love the idea of more smaller kind of conferences and events popping up. I think they've kind of been happening because CardistryCon isn't happening, but I also think there's a lot of room for it in the general scheme of things, even when CardistryCon is happening. To have these kind of smaller events, like I know there's been CardistryCon Mexico, stuff like that. I think the more events, the better. So super happy to hear you had a good time there. Another thing that you've been a part of is you went to the Anyone store, which um, I think for a lot of people was probably like a dream almost,
Yeah.
to get to go to like the Anyone or Fontaine store. But how was the experience with that as well?
It was um, it was like a dream, honestly, because the it was a very funny story actually, because I went with my friend Sinan, which is also a cardist, and we went by Flixbus, and it took us 12 hours to get there, and we missed our first one. So it was a very tiring journey. Um, and I think we arrived there at was it something about uh, 4-ish, quarter past 4, and we were both like kind of sleep deprived and really really sort of really anxiously to meet them, but also really tired and from a long trip. So we we were looking for the store and we finally found the right street, and we walked into it and I saw like Nikolai casually talking to his girlfriend, and I was like my heart was like bonking in my in my throat, and I just went up to him like, I've been looking forward to this for like 4 years. and just saying, "Hi, I'm Bruno," and I really don't know what to say. And he was super nice. Nikolai and Tobias were both there, obviously, and they are the most warm persons you could ever imagine. They were incredibly kind and very curious to know how our trip was, and yeah, it was an absolute dream. Also, really cool meeting Silas and Leon Schultz was there as well. Yeah, a couple other guys I can't exactly remember. Oh yeah, Matisse was there as well, which was really cool to see him again. And yeah, it was such a great experience. Obviously bought a ton of decks, which were also cool. I even got in a video which was an absolute, also another dream of mine. I would never dare to dare to believe come true. So yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. And then in the ride back, it felt like I just had the most amazing dream, and me and Sinan were super tired but incredibly grateful, and yeah, I could not believe how much fun it was. So yeah, if you can go ever, go, because it's the best thing.
Yeah. I mean, just piggybacking on that, like just in general, meeting up with other cardists is super surreal and super awesome experience. I know I've been able to do it 3 times now, which is a lot more than most. So I definitely try to seek out people that are close to you and get become friends and meet people, because I think that's one of the best aspects of cardistry. One thing that I want to kind of shift to is something that we go over all the time on the podcast. It's kind of like the overall focus is kind of exploring why we create and how we create. So just kind of as a general topic, do you have any advice for the creative process, or do you have any ideas on it?
Definitely, yeah. I think I started creating my own moves after doing it for like a year and a half or 2 years or something. And I think that the first thing that I tried was just create new openers, like put your fingers on like split packets on which you normally wouldn't do, because it creates new, entirely new paths, and everything you do is kind of unexplored because it's already new to you. So that was one thing I really did while I was starting creating moves. Another thing that's super fun, what you can do with your friends, is a game I thought of, and I call it Display, and it's basically you take turns and you start with one unit. So a unit is a deck or a card or a packet or a fan or whatever you want, and just create something new. Doesn't have to be good as long as it's new. And then you go to 2 units, 3, 4, 5, until you really can't do it anymore. I think my record was 13, which was an insane sort of I can't even remember what it was. I think it was sort of like it looked like a diamond on a fountain or something. It was really weird, but really fun, because it sort of trains you to just think of new things instantly and just improvise, which is also really important. I improvise a lot when I especially when I'm in a room with other people and I'm sort of like listening to what everyone's saying and just at the same time fiddling with my cards. That's somehow the best way for me to improvise. Also, one of my more recent methods is to ask someone for a random word and use that as the title for a move that I'll make. And this is actually a super cool move or a cool method, because it's really it really becomes impressionistic. And if you ask someone who doesn't do cardistry for a word and you create something, and they'll say, oh yeah, I get it. That's one of the most valuable things for me, because then you can both agree, like, oh yeah, this is the card version of grass blade, or whatever, like a tree or a bike or anything. So yeah, that's definitely fun trying out. Um, the I think my most used method is probably an opener I'll do on instinct, and then I'll think, ah, but that's garbage. I'm not gonna do anything with it, but I'll do it anyway because it feels nice. And then after doing that opener for like 2 weeks, I'll find a really cool second action in it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's amazing. I'm gonna make a move of it. Um, so yeah, I've loads of methods basically, and I use them whenever they're convenient.
Hmm. Yeah, a couple things I want to kind of point out on that too. Um, uh, this just really made me think of when I was talking with Beckett Beal a long time ago, one of the earlier episodes. But he said it's always good to have like a toolbox when it comes to creative methods. So that's always a good thing. And it sounds like you definitely have that. He also said he really likes, like what you said, that you make a move kind of based off of a word. He kind of related it more to like verbs, I guess, like sneaky. How would you make a move that's
Oh,
sneaky?
right.
How would you make that's
Mm.
quiet or loud, stuff like that. He related it to that, but also, like you said, just relating it to any word in general, like structure wise. I think that there's a lot of chance for creativity that way, and it also becomes a lot easier to name your move if you have something based off of it, the move based on. So I think those are definitely some really good ways to hopefully inspire other people to be more creative. Another kind of common talking point that I like to have is cardistry is practicing it and kind of smoothing it out.
Hmm.
So when it comes to once you've made your move and you kind of have it mostly finalized, how do you kind of practice smoothing out your move? Do you have any thoughts when it comes to that?
Definitely, yeah. Um, I have this practicing method, which is um, yeah, which is really mentally hard sometimes, and it's called the 100 times a day method.
Hmm.
And it's basically, I have this notes thing page where I just put on like a green I done it thing, like a check
Yeah.
for every time I've done it, and then I do it 100 times with a move, which I'm like gonna post next or is important to practice. Um, so I kind of do that with two moves, I think, a day, because I've done three, but that's just like 2 hours, and I don't have like 2 hours for it in one sitting every day for it. So yeah, but 100 times a day uh is actually amazing, because I can perfect like I perfected a 5 packet cut in 2 weeks, which is like 5 packet cuts are super hard. So
Mhm.
that was really nice actually. I think I've done it about 2100 times now. I can keep track of it in my notes, so that's really fun. Um, Also, what really helps me, if I listen to music, um, I'll count with it. So because if I count with it, I can sort of do the move within the time signature, which really sort of helps me create momentum and understanding the move better, and ultimately also helps me with creating, because if I sort of half created it, and it works best in 6/8 time signature, then I can sort of listen to songs which have that time signature and just create it within that flow. So yeah, those are the two things, like 100 times a day and counting with it. That really helps.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting method. I don't think I've heard. Obviously, it's just practice a ton, but you kind of have a goal there, which is always definitely a really good thing when trying to perfect something or trying to improve at something, is having that goal. So that's a very quantifiable and understandable goal of 100. As long as you know how to count to 100, you're good to go. You know how to get there. So that's definitely good that you've made that goal, and then you know how to get there. It's very important. And then what you said with kind of the pacing of the move and the time signature, I think that's very interesting as well. Is finding a song or like a tempo, a beat that matches kind of what the flow you want to go for. I definitely see how that could potentially help, or potentially be able to find a better time signature if maybe that's not working that way.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's easier to practice it with 6/8 at the first time, because you sort of you can morph it to just 4/4. I usually say like these time signatures in Dutch, so if I have it wrong, please correct me. But the thing is, like 6/8 is more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's more sort of what's the right word for it? Sort of waving, sort of bouncing in one, or like 4/4 is more like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's more tighter, I'd say. It's a bit weird word choice, but I think that's the best way to describe it. Because 6/8 gives you more room, basically. Like in between the beats, you can take your time a little more, and once you have that perfected, it's really cool that you can. Oh, I can do it so well now that I can like change time signatures. So that's definitely where you can spot your own process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting idea. I don't think that's anything that I've really explored, but I really would like to now that you mention it. When it comes to cardistry, you have your move figured out and you have your tempo down. You release it, it's out. Hopefully, it makes an impact on the community. And I'm trying to just find a way to segue to my next question, but I'm not really working. So I'll just go straight to the next question, which is one that you had mentioned you wanted to talk about, and that's just kind of the idea of the future of cardistry, or where we kind of think cardistry is going.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that and where cardistry could potentially go in the future, or kind of the direction you think it's heading?
Yeah, I think I have like two grand visions, you could call them. The first is connecting cardistry with other art forms. For example, dance or painting, which is already kind of happening. But also like just try, like my dream is to connect it with everything, so that when I can sort of when I'm putting out a new deck, I can do clothing with it, but also like a dance thing, and sort of make every dimension carry the theme of the deck into everything else. Maybe even like architecture or something crazy. I don't know, politics. I don't know. But really sort of connected more with the rest of the world. I think cardistry is really it's really happening for cardists, and that's good. But I think like magic has such a wide range of people that it touches, and I think introducing other people to it with other art forms is a good way to get more people into it, because that's my goal, probably, to show everyone how cool cardistry is. because yeah, like being the only cardist in your area really sort of creates this ability to really explain well what cardistry is. At least in my experience, I've had to do the what is cardistry story for probably thousands of times, which I don't mind, obviously, because that I can train my story. But I think, yeah, like reaching more people with an exact idea of what cardistry is really important. So I think that's definitely where I want to go. As for the other thing, it's a bit it's a bit hard to sort of explain instantly. Because I have this philosophy what cardistry is for me, and essentially it's that that cards are windows, and through those windows, an observer, like someone I show cardistry, can sort of see into me. Like the same thing with, let's say I have a broken heart and I write a song about it, and someone hears that song and they'll feel the same thing that I'm feeling, which is really beautiful. To me, that's the art thing about it, that I can sort of make people see what I see or feel what I feel, and yeah, that direction I think is really important. So my deck designs are gonna make use of that idea as well, sort of to look through the cards, to see something behind it. You know, it's because to me it's not just moving paper around. It's the physical way of the physical form of whatever I feel or whatever I see. I think that's the most interesting thing about it, when I can show someone a move and I call it hide and seek, and it's about two soulmates who've been separated and searching for one another and finding their way back to each other. It's really almost a song or like a story, and I just love that. I just love when it's telling something bigger, when it's almost a metaphor for something you can't quite put into words, but you can put into cards. So yeah, I'd love to also like teach other people cardistry and sort of teach them how to create with an actual message, which is why I think titles are very important, because your move it represents the title. It's literally what the title says it is, in my opinion. So yeah, that's what I wanted to go towards, that it becomes more transparent what we mean, that the cards become windows, basically.
Yeah, I think that's really, really awesome and something I'd love to see as well. I don't think we're necessarily heading that direction right now, but I think there are glimpses of it, like with Jason Cardistry's with his move that was very based on anxiety that a lot of people connected to. I don't know if you know what move I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But there's that one where it's very, very personal. I think there's a lot of a room to move towards that, and I think it's a really beautiful thing. I think you were relating it to song and stories and stuff like that, which definitely there's some relation there too. But I think dancing is another one that's more physical as well, where you can kind of show off emotions through dance, and I think we can definitely show off emotions through card movements and cardistry, and I think that's something really beautiful that we haven't touched a lot on. So I do think that would be really incredible to move towards, and I definitely think we'll see more of that in the future as people become more skilled with their craft. And the other one you were saying is just getting more people into cardistry and kind of spreading it into other art forms and streetwear and stuff like that. And I think that's definitely a direction we're heading at the moment with all the collabs between street brands, a lot of we've done a lot in the past, but now we're doing like the most recent missing deck where he collabed with the painter, which was awesome. So I think we're definitely heading in that direction, and I think that's a really cool, exciting thing. Is we're becoming things are getting based off of cardistry instead of us basing cardistry off of other things. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's nice to see that cardistry is becoming more and more this sort of source of sort of inspiration, and sort of drives other people. That it finally starts to go the other way around. Yeah, I also hope there's like going to be a Netflix series about cardistry or something. That would be absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, also just more like jobs for cardistry. Like if I had all the money in the world, if like Just Be turns out to be super successful, I'd love to make this. It's gonna sound really weird, but sort of make a sort of Hogwarts for cardists, where let's say if you want to pursue cardistry as a true career, you can just come to the place and stay there. Like you have a roof, you have food, you can jam with other people, you can make projects, you can print your own cards. All those kind of things would be super cool if there would be sort of a community which would be revolving around cardistry completely and making it safe to pursue it, because I'm really taking a risk here studying cardistry. You know, there's not a real like there are not really cardists needed in the Netherlands. So but I want it so bad that I'll just go ahead and make the job myself. And yeah, I'd love to be more, I'd love to be more involved in the security for pursuing cardistry, and just letting people know that it's okay to pursue an art form. Like also besides cardistry, like if you want to study art or go for the art direction, please do it, because it's important to have those things. It's art really expresses something that we can't quite put into words, like I said earlier. And I think that's important. I think that's I think yeah, that sort of motivates us to keep going. Like especially with this pandemic, where lots of people like find themselves stuck at home, and they don't know what to do. It's good if you can sort of translate these feelings into something else and make it visible for yourself as well. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say about it.
Yeah, I think you kind of mentioning like security and cardistry and like being able to pursue it full time. I think that's something I think most people in the cardistry community definitely wants, and I think as we grow, that's going to become more and more of an option. It will be interesting to think, like, I'm sure they have magic courses and they have stuff like that all the time for magic, or they have entire degrees. It'll be interesting if sometime, like years down the line, if we have stuff like that where you take a course on cardistry or something like that. Like that would be super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it just relies on us trying to grow the art form to where we can get more well known and it becomes more financially viable because there's more people involved. So if you do, talking to the viewers at the moment, if you do want to see like more potential to have a career in cardistry, there has to be more people in cardistry. So make sure to tell your friends, make sure to get other people involved, teach people things at their level, and kind of show them why cardistry is good in a way that they understand. I think that's very important. And that's when cardistry grows, which I think it's doing right now. But once it continues to grow, there's going to be more opportunities to make a living off of it and to be able to enjoy it more. So definitely some things to take away from there.
One more thing I wanted to mention as well is that I'm starting to do workshops in January probably, and that's of course a huge step for me. But also uh, something I've really thought about much is going to um, going to elementaries and teaching like kids cardistry. I think that might be super impactful on the cardistry community, because all like the kids who started like 13 and become gods within a year and a half.
Hmm.
I've seen it happen, like Bram Duijfhuizen.
Yeah.
I met him when he was like I think it was 14 or something, and he like just quit Magic to do cardistry, uh, and he was like doing I think a couple of Tobias's moves, and I said, dude, you should create your own moves, and he said, no, dude, I can't. I'm too bad at it. And I said, just do it. It'll be worth it. And
Hmm.
he completely like obliterated me. He made so much progress in so little time, and I think that, yeah, that really got me thinking, like if we teach kids from the age of 10 cardistry, and maybe maybe have a class of 20 and 18 will drop it, but two actually like keep doing it, that'll be amazing, because they'll definitely be uh, part of a really extraordinary cardistry generation, because there's because now there's so much more information and access to tutorials, and yeah, like these podcasts, which are full of gems of information. um I think that's something what I definitely want to do in the future, just teach kids cardistry. And if you're out there listening and you're thinking, oh damn, that would be a good idea, do it. The more the merrier.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
I
So
think
that, I mean, that's
that's
definitely
about it.
awesome. Definitely an awesome concept is getting going to people, and that's something we don't do a lot as cardistry. In cardistry, we tend to like stay in our room and kind of chat online. We're not too used to like going out into other communities or into our own community and kind of saying like, "Hey, this is what I do," to other people. So that's definitely something I think we could work on, whether it's with the youth in elementary school or just our friends or outside of cardistry. So that's definitely a really awesome idea, and I hope you and potentially other people will definitely pick up on it. I think one thing that I think is really interesting that you talked about that is kind of we've never really had, at least to my knowledge, somebody that started cardistry at like the age of 5 or 6, like super young.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
for sports, for like soccer, basketball, like that's
that's
common.
very
Like you get
normal.
them started,
Yeah,
or like it'll be interesting when you get like an 18-year-old that's been doing it for 12 years. Like that'll be
yeah,
very interesting to see if that ever happens. And that there's potential for that too, because now a lot of the older cardists are getting older naturally, but they're more likely to have kids, which is also interesting that
yeah.
their kids might
True.
started in cardistry. So it'll be interesting to see, like in a decade from now, how that kind of affects things with people starting so much earlier than the normal age is probably like 12 or 13 or up. So it'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, looking forward.
So at the end of the show, what I like to do is what I call roll out the close-up pad, and that's just my way of basically saying, is there any last nugget you would like to leave the audience with, or is there anything you would like to promote before we kind of wrap things up?
Um, yeah, if you would like to see more of my cards and cardistry, please follow Just Be Cardistry on Instagram. There are beautiful things coming. The next decks are really um, on another level. I dare to say, um, they're really going to be
Hmm.
very special. So look out for that. I also want to thank everyone involved in Blink Playing Cards, Michelle, Mila, um, Also, quick shout out to Jeroen Roos, who really supported me for the last couple months. My parents and everyone who supports my cardistry career. I'm really grateful, and thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yes, absolutely. I've had you on the list to talk to you since I talked with Michelle. She recommended you, so super happy to finally get that done and talk with you. Thank you for being on the show. Hopefully everybody gains a little bit of knowledge, had a little bit of fun, maybe learned a little bit more about Bruno, kind of his thoughts on cardistry. I think it was a blast, and I hope you guys had a blast as well. It's been a pleasure, and that's gonna do it for this episode. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks so much.